It starts with a single thread, a thought, a date on a calendar still weeks away that casts a long, complex shadow, December. And with it, a silent, simultaneous trigger deep within the ancient and modern layers of your brain. This is not a story about mere holiday cheer or seasonal stress. This is a neurological map of contradiction, a war and a waltz happening inside the vault of your skull, where fairy lights and to-do lists fuse into the same electrical storm. We are about to trace that jittering line, your line, as it splits, multiplies, and weaves the dual reality of a modern Christmas. Why does this season, more than any other, make us feel such profound, aching joy and such specific, frantic overwhelm? The answer is not in the mall or the manger, but in the messy, magnificent biology of expectation. Your brain is not confused. It is performing a high-wire act, responding perfectly to a set of bizarre, conflicting instructions modern culture has written. To understand it is to understand why the memory of your grandmother's cookies can bring a tear to your eye, while the thought of mailing packages can make your jaw clench. It is all the same system, the same web. Let's follow the light threads and the dark threads and see the tapestry they create together. First, the light, the happiness. It has a chemical signature, a geography in the cortex. It begins with nostalgia, a time travel machine powered by the medial prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus. When you hear that specific carol or smell pine needles and cinnamon, you are not just remembering, you are reliving. The brain is notoriously bad at distinguishing between a vivid memory and the present moment for your emotional centers. So the warmth you felt at age 6, the safe glow of the tree in a dark room, the sheer magic of believed-in miracles, that is not a past event. It is a current neurochemical event. Dopamine, the anticipatory molecule, floods the system not just for a present pleasure, but for a past one, resurfaced. Oxytocin, the bonding agent, stirs at the thought of family gatherings, of connection. The brain, in its efficiency, treats the memory of connection as a promise of future connection and rewards you for it. The visual cortex lights up with the specific, soft glow of fairy lights reflected in a child's wide eyes, a memory you may not even know you stored. This is the Christmas of the limbic system, raw, emotional, visceral, and steeped in the deep well of personal history. It is a happiness born not of what is, but of what was, and what our brains desperately hope might be again. But woven directly into that same nostalgic fabric is the first source of stress, because nostalgia sets a benchmark. It creates a template of perfect. The brain, seeking to replicate that pristine dopamine hit of the past, now has a mission to engineer the conditions of that memory. This is where the prefrontal cortex, the planner, the warrior, the adult, snaps to attention. It compares the fuzzy, emotional ideal with the stark, logistical reality. The memory is pure feeling. The replication requires spreadsheets. The stress response begins not as an enemy of joy, but as its overzealous, literal-minded bodyguard. The amygdala, your internal alarm bell, isn't triggered by Christmas itself, but by the threat of failing Christmas, of disappointing the ghost of your own past. The to-do list is, neurologically, a series of potential failures to live up to the emotional template. Each unchecked box is a tiny cognitive dissonance alert, a minute threat that the perfect feeling won't arrive. Then we have the social symphony and its dissonant chords. Humans are tribal. Our survival historically depended on belonging. The holidays are the tribe's grand reunion. This triggers the brain's powerful social reward systems. The anticipation of seeing loved ones, of shared laughter, of belonging, generates serotonin and oxytocin. It's a profound biological reward. But our modern tribe is not a simple homogeneous circle around a fire. It is a fragmented, multi-layered, often fraught network. The same brain region that lights up with pleasure at the thought of your favorite cousin also holds the map of every political argument, every past slight, every ounce of familial baggage. The prefrontal cortex now must become a diplomat, an actor, a strategist. It runs constant simulations. What will Uncle Bill say? How do I navigate my sister's divorce? Will my gift adequately convey the precise nuance of our relationship? This is cognitive load. It's the mental energy of emotional labor and impression management. The joy of connection is shadowed by the exhaustion of performance. Every interaction is both a potential for that sweet oxytocin hit and a potential for social threat, which the amygdala monitors relentlessly. The quiet joy of a moment with a close friend is real. The draining effort of making small talk for 4 hours is also real. They are two sides of the same social coin, minted in different neural regions. Gift-giving is a concentrated microcosm of this war. Anthropologically, it's a bonding ritual, a tangible symbol of social glue. Neurologically, for the giver, choosing a gift can be a wonderful puzzle that activates the reward centers upon imagining the recipient's joy, a process called mentalizing. But it is immediately corrupted by the modern specters of consumerism and expectation. The ventral striatum, involved in reward processing, enjoys the hunt for the perfect gift, but the insula, which processes disgust and anxiety, fires up at the price tag, at the crowds, at the fear of a disappointing, unreciprocated, or misunderstood offering. The act becomes a high-stakes social test. Is this enough? Does this reflect our relationship accurately? Will this prove I listen, I care, I know you? The simple joy of giving is strangled by the anxiety of signification. Receiving gifts, too, is a minefield. The surprise can be delightful, a hit of dopamine, but the pressure to perform genuine gratitude, regardless of the gift's aptness, triggers the social performance networks again. And underpinning it all, the stark frontal lobe reality of financial strain, the cold fear that lights up the amygdala, and the stress hormone cascade of cortisol sits in direct opposition to the warm, giving glow the season is supposed to embody. This brings us to the great amplifier, time compression. The brain perceives scarcity as a threat. Scarcity of resources, scarcity of safety, scarcity of time. The holiday season artificially compresses an enormous volume of high-stakes social, financial, and emotional tasks into a few short weeks. Your hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, the timekeeping and planning centers, map this scarcity. The result is a pervasive sense of temporal threat. The holiday cheer is supposed to be a backdrop, but it becomes another item on the list. Feel joyful now. The pressure to be happy on schedule creates what psychologists call meta-emotion, feeling anxious about not being happy enough. It's a recursive loop. The amygdala, sensing threat, of failure, of scarcity, triggers a low-grade fight or flight response. Cortisol and adrenaline course through the system. This puts the brain in a state of heightened alert, which is antithetical to the relaxed, open, receptive state required for genuine joy, connection, and nostalgia. You are biologically primed to run from a predator, but the predator is a burnt turkey or a missed delivery deadline. Your body is stressed, and then your mind gets stressed about being stressed at Christmas. The two systems, the threat response and the reward response, are now in a screaming match inside your brainstem. But wait, there is a way to read this map not as a blueprint for chaos, but as a guide to navigating the duality. The key is in distinguishing between two types of happiness the brain pursues, hedonic and eudaimonic. Hedonic pleasure is the quick hit, the taste of the cookie, the surprise of the gift, the rush of a sale. It's dopamine-driven, brilliant, and fleeting. Christmas offers these in spades, and we chase them, often contributing to the stress of acquisition and consumption. Eudaimonic well-being, however, is the deeper current. It's the sense of meaning, connection, and belonging. It's generated by acts of true generosity, by shared vulnerability, by quiet moments of presence. These register in slower, more sustained neural rhythms involving the prefrontal cortex and deeper limbic structures. It's not a flash, but a glow. The brain can handle both, but when the hedonic chase, the perfect gift, the perfect party, the perfect Instagram moment overwhelms, it starves the eudaimonic. The stress is often the friction of a brain caught in a hedonic treadmill it mistakes for the path to joy.
So what do we do with this knowledge? We reframe. We see the stressed brain not as a broken Christmas brain, but as a Christmas brain working overtime. It is trying to engineer a miracle of the past in the messy present. It is trying to secure your place in the tribe. It is trying to protect you from failure. Its intentions, biologically, are noble. The goal is not to eliminate the stress, but to dismiss its false alarms, to thank the amygdala for its vigilance, and then consciously redirect energy from the hedonic checklist to the eudaimonic moment. It means lowering the template of perfect. It means seeing the gift as a symbol, not a test. It means sometimes choosing the quiet connection over the obligatory party. It means allowing the nostalgic memory to be a fond visitor, not a demanding foreman. The magic of Christmas, the real neural magic, happens in the spaces between the stimuli, in the pause after the carol ends, in the soft focus of candlelight when the dishes are done, in the shared wordless understanding with a sibling. These are the moments that bypass the checklist and speak directly to the older, quieter parts of the brain that simply recognize peace and safety and love. These moments don't photograph well, they don't go on the list, but they are the glue that makes the chaotic web of lines into a coherent, beautiful picture. Your brain is not failing at Christmas. It is conducting a magnificent, overwhelming orchestra of memory, hope, fear, love, and pressure. The happiness and the stress are not opposites. They are the two melodies being played simultaneously. One is a bright, piping flute of joy. The other is a deep, resonant cello of concern. The dissonance you feel is not a wrong note. It is the signature chord of a conscious, caring, complex human experiencing a season that asks for everything you have and promises, in fleeting, glorious moments, to give it all back. The shimmering tension is the point. It is the proof that you are alive, connected, and trying. And in that effort, in that glorious, stressful, happy mess of neural firing, you are perfectly, humanly celebrating.